Hey YouTube, welcome to Beyond the Hype, a series created to look at Pokemon with buff news, buff moves, new moves, to see if they are overranked, underranked, how much these moves help them, and Bug Bite Araquanid. So this Pokemon always had this move. This was the move that was used. It is now more damage, and with it, this and Forretress have gone up in the rankings substantially. So as you can see here, you have your Forretress, which is number 2 ranked, and Araquanaid is coming in at number 24. So the question is, what separates these two? Is it basically the same analysis? And Forretress was lower attack, high defense, stamina, bug bite, and then kind of slower moves, right? You just had that sand tomb at 14, which doesn't do much but does lower their defense, so you can do more on the bug bite. And then you had probably like a rock tomb at 17. And then the typing was that nice bug steel typing where you only had one weakness in fire. So the water bug, so two things here. One is even lower attack, higher defense, like crazy defense, 176 here with Araquanid. This thing is a bulky Pokemon, 133 stamina, 2300 overall almost. Water bug, so instead of just the one fire weakness that you have on Forretress, you have 3 here, rock, flying, and electric, and less resistances. But 3 of the resistances are water, ground, and fighting. And holy smokes, if you're going to resist 3 things, those are the 3 you want to resist. That's why this Pokemon and Golisopod are so highly ranked, because this typing just is fantastic against what is the main meta there. Has Bug Bite. We know Bug Bite does well with the damage per turn. It now comes down to the charge moves, and the recommended charge moves are Bubble Beam and Water Pulse, and it's almost a freaking clone, but slightly worse than Forretress, right? So this is why I think Forretress is ranked higher, because although I like the typing on this one because of the resistance against the main meta, Forretress does okay against resistances too. You have the same Bug Bite. You have the same sort of bait type move. Bubble Beam lowers your opponent's attack, while Sand Tomb lowers your opponent's defense. If I have those 2 moves, I would probably want to lower my opponent's defense, because Bug Bite is just does the damage, right? So you just want to do more damage. So I'd rather take the defense. And then you have a Water Pulse versus Stone Edge. Rock Tomb. Water Pulse versus Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb you get to quicker than Water Pulse. So it's like 19, 18 here for the counts, as opposed to 17s on that. Plus, Rock Tomb lowers your opponent's defense. So just on that basis alone, it makes sense why Forretress is ranked higher. And not surprising, I swear I'm only gonna say it once, maybe 20 times. Bug resistance. There's 7 things that resist bug. So if you get a Pokemon that resists bug, you're in trouble. If you get a Pokemon like Jellicent that resists bug and water, you're in real trouble. So at least you have a little more coverage, I think, on having 3 different typing moves on Forretress, right? You can have a bug, you can have a ground, and you can have a rock. Here it's just really bug and water, a combo of those, so you're almost even more limited. So I think slightly more limitations with this Pokemon in terms of move sets. I think more bulk, you definitely feel that, but slow on the charge here. So as you're going to see here, Primeape is getting to their 2nd Rage Fist, and they're almost going to be at like a 3rd Rage Fist before I finally get to the Water Pulse, right? I'm just going straight Bubble Beam because I kind of figured their Shadow they're going to shield anyways. But here we go. Like, I mean, I did take a shield, but against the fighter, which resists bug, this thing is now 3 times boosted. It's going to get to a 4th move. I'm going to have to shield up the 4th move no matter what I bring in. So I'm just like, okay, let's just come in here, shield up the move, come out with some energy. But yeah, Shadow Primeape putting in some work there. Unfortunately for them, coming in with a Clodsire into Cursola is a crazy idea. Poison being resisted. I mean, I'm guessing they have probably like Stone Edge and Earthquake here. Notice I'm running Stone Edge on mine. I just think Stone Edge is better both if you're going to use a safe swap and if you are going to have more coverage for the meta. That is currently the way it is. I end up shielding the Earthquake because I just was under the assumption that if you are coming in Clodsire into Corsola, you're probably weak to Corsola in the back. So I figure that if you're gonna come in here, you're gonna be trying to get me out as soon as I can. So I'm just gonna shield it. And what is in the back? A Psychic Matang here. So do get to the Nightshade. Not enough take out. And yeah, I checked that one out. When did I put that one out? I don't know. I put out so many videos. I put that out recently, maybe even this morning. Maybe even this morning or yesterday I put this Pokemon out. And yeah, it's got some, despite being a shadow, it's got nice stats. And Psyshock, Psyshock's a great move there. I can't farm down. I'm going to have to throw. So throwing the Stone Edge, that will take this out. Can I get to the next move? I can. Earthquake will take out what's left here. I probably could have just gone Stone Edge, but you know. Just want to confirm the KO here to take that out. Okay, Clodsire. At least I got water, right? So Bug Bite is resisted. If they have Stone Edge, that'll be super effective. If it's just Sludge Bomb, so that's fine. Earthquake would be resisted on the bug, so they have to throw Sludge Bomb. They do. I'll eventually get to the Water Pulse. 19 to get to. And as you can see, I guess it's only 16 on thing, but it's 16 and then 14 as opposed to 19 and 18. So they're just going to... Oh, sorry. That was a Earthquake I was looking at. But they're just spamming the Sludge Bombs at like 12. So they're going to get to a third Sludge Bomb, which is why I had to catch here. Because they're going to get to a third Sludge Bomb before I get to a second Water Pulse. So I had to catch that. And I do catch it. But I guess sort of not surprising. They have an answer for Ghost, right? If you have a Poison, you probably have an answer for Ghost. And it is a... I was going to say Water Shuriken. It is a Greninja. So I land the Power Gem. This thing is just going to farm up a bit here. It's probably got another move coming out. So I assume I'll just take it on my Araquanid here. It's going to be a Night Slash at best. And they throw it right away. Oh yeah, I'm actually very low, so I kind of have to shield. So do shield up the Night Slash. Do farm them down. Probably throw the Water Pulse right away. Water Pulse is like a decent move. You're just such a low attack anyways, right? For Alligator. And unfortunately, kind of worst case scenario here where they're doing all the Shadow Claw damage on this Pokemon just to come out with a ton of energy. But I do lower their attack. I'm hoping with the lowered attack and the non-Shadow that I can maybe live 2 Hydros. That's still going to be a stretch here. We're going to find out right here. If they can do over 50%, I'm basically top left. If they do under, it's going to be pretty close here. I may live, but I may be in like a couple claw range. So I do live. I do get the Stone Edge off, but I think they're probably going to take me out still. So they shield. Yep. As I get to the Stone Edge, they claw me out there, which means I am going to go down here. Okay, Claydol. Good lead. It's a Mud Boy. It's not Mud Boy. It's a Ground and Psychic. They come in with Shadow Vic. And these... I haven't tested Credillia yet. I'm going to test Dragalge next. I went to go play today, but it is already... I've already hit my max battles. I'll test Dragalge, but these Acid Spray... Not Acid Spray. These Acid Pokemon here. I've got it in the background here. Credillia, Dragalge, and now Vic. It definitely plays very different. But yeah, the acid kind of farms. It does decent damage and kind of farms quick. So eventually keep alignment here. I am coming in Corsola because I don't want to take a super effective Rock Tomb on my bug, but then I will instant swap. And they instant swap, and they instant swap into a Credillia. So super effective bug bites. They do have a rock type move, so it's not like I'm just out of the woods yet. Will shield up the Rock Tomb. I did lower their attack with Bubble Beam. So I'm going to get to the Water Pulse. Probably not enough to take out. Again, just being so defensive heavy. Yeah, not even close. They're going to get to a move here, but, you know, chip them to the deep red. That's fine. I can just come in and take the rest out here with Corsola, and they instant swap, knowing that they need to get to a move, as many moves as they can. And I figure that I think they just dump their energy. If I just shield this, farm down, I think I can just take this out with some Astonishes here. That is exactly what happens. Dedenne. Resisted on Fairy. Instant swap into Corsola because they probably have an answer for Clodsire. Right? If you're electric, you probably have an answer for ground. So coming in with the Corsola as the option here to take a move, but also try and take this out. They do get to, I can live this and I'll get to a move, so I could take this in the zeros here despite being behind on energy. Corsola is just so tanky. I don't know, with 2 defense boosts, I don't know if I can actually Astonish down here, so I'm just going to take this out. What are they going to come in with? A Talonflame. Where am I going to go? Clodsire, that makes sense because Bug Bite is resisted. And I said I'd only say it once, but I gotta obviously point to the fact that Fairy on the lead, Flying and Fire in the back here, double resisting Bug. It is it's something that needs to be mentioned because you can't run a Bug Bite user where Bubble Beam does nothing and Water Pulse takes 19 to get to and expect to have success when you just run into a bunch of things that resist where you are. That being said, I can see a Talonflame's chip to this, and I remember timing coming in play in this matchup here. Fly, Brave Bird, both super effective. I take the first Fly, and they give up switch into Credilli, and this is a Shadow one at that. I'll have to shield. And now it is timing time. It is, I need to farm as much as I can here. I need to get this move off to take them out. And then I need to get to the move before the Incinerates take me out. And that is exactly what happens. This bulk coming through in spades here. 170 plus defense. Living 2 Incinerates, 1 HP. Get the Water Pulse off to win. Dragology. Poison, resist, instant swap. It's yeah. Wait, what do you? It's just that there's certain typings. It's funny though because I feel like the meta is just adjusting to these bugs for now, and whether that stays long term, I don't know. But for the most part, the meta will ignore the Darks and Malamars. Like, that makes sense that they're not around right now because of how often bugs were. But the meta for the last few seasons, besides like the Malamar, has been water and ground. And if that was the meta, these bug users would have a field day, because they would resist the ground and do just neutral against these water type Pokemon. And some of these like bug water Pokemon would actually destroy other water Pokemon. So if you could have just like kept, and maybe the meta will adjust back to that, but if you could just keep that meta, that would be great. Now I know one of the grounds was Clodsire, which is poison. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the meta's going to go. Anyways, Corviknight, Steel, Flyer, double resists the bug. Clodsire trying to chip here, but Poison is also resisted. So yeah, maybe it's not the smartest to run a Bug Bite and Poison Sting user. I mean, Poison Sting is more just fast charging as opposed to any sort of real damage, but Cannot farm this down, and they make a catch knowing that I cannot farm down. And the poison is resisted on the poison here, so I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna lose this matchup too. So if I'm, anyways, let's just kind of wrap up. Let's wrap up there's 6 minutes of battles. Let's wrap up just how to play this team if you're gonna play it. it's fairly obvious. Clodsire, or, Corsola can be an okay safe swap, but Clodsire with Stonage is a better safe swap. If you see one of the 7 resistances, well, that's why I use Corsola in the Dene, right? If an electric fairy is there, don't get out. Hey, look at that ground lead into a Talonflame. Okay, I need to be way quicker than this. Yeah, that was way too slow. I think I was just shocked at that I actually won a lead. So if you win a lead, great. If you lose a lead, probably Clodsire, unless it's like Dedenne or something, then I go Corsola safe swap. Otherwise, play out the lead. I mostly just go Water Pulse unless the bug bites are like really adding up. But that's about it. Okay. If I had to choose a team of 3 right now, where do I think I would be going here? Let me just open up PV Poke again. I don't know why I close it because I always check back here. Okay, where do I think I would be going? I think out of every single one of these Pokemon that I've tested that have a bug type move, I think the only 2 that I will be using moving forward are Gligar and Golisopod. I think those 2 already had play as safe swaps in the past, and now with a better move, yes, it's resisted in a lot of cases, but Fury Cutter in itself is just fast charging, and then you get the spammy X-Scissor, Aqua Jet, Aerial Ace, and even Dig with some nice typings, right? Bug Water and Ground Flame are kind of nice typings. So I can see Golisopod and Gligar definitely staying in the mix here. Although I had fun with Metang, I think it's going to probably go a little lower. Again, I think Forretress and Araquanid here, just too much reliance on the fast move I don't think is going to roll well. I think Dedenne will be strong. I think you're going to see a decent amount of that, which maybe you see more answers to that, which would be what? Ground and Poison. Ground and Poison. And Poison will deal with the bug, so maybe we see more Poison. I think you're just going to see more of the staples from last season that have play against all these sort of Pokemon. So I would say Clodsire. I'd see a lot of Clodsire, Dusclops, Corsola, maybe with Jellicent. Diggersby, I played with Diggersby a bunch, and it seems to be playing well against these. Lapras I can see a lot more of. So I think we're just going to see a lot more of those Pokemon. And then, yeah, more of the staples like Feraligatr and stuff. I'm trying to think if there's... I've not seen a ton of fighting yet. And again, I think with so much bug out there, fighters are kind of just staying away. And Poison, right? Because there's a lot of like Dragolgis and stuff. And Dedenne's now as a fairy. So there's a lot of answers to... There's a lot more... I think this season there's more answers to... And Gligar's back as a flyer. I think there are way, way, way more answers to fighters this season than there have been in the past. So I'm not surprised that the fighters are lower on this list. I still think there's play for them, but I'm not surprised that they're much lower on this list. Shadow Scissor was fun. I'll probably play with that again, but I just enjoyed using that Pokemon. I'm now looking in like the 50-ish range, and I'm trying. I still don't know. Like Shadow Marowak was the go-to safe swap last season, right? 2 Shield Beast, Shadow Marowak, you're in a bad lead. Even if you go into that and you get a bad answer to you, sometimes you have at least coverage with Rock Slide. Other times, even in like water matchups, you can like double shield and Mudslap Bone Club your way through it. I feel less confident using Marowak this time around with all these bug Pokemon. I'm just trying to think like where all these other Pokemon are gonna I haven't used the team yet, but one of the Pokemon they recommended to use Dragolgi with was Ferret, and I'm gonna use Ferret because I still think with the fighters down, I think normal typing. That's why I think Diggersby so high. I think fighters are down, so I think normal typings are gonna have a little more play than they've had in the past little bit here. But yeah, it's those ones that were like sort of borderline last season that I'm trying to figure out. Like I've got Driftblim here at 77. I got Sandslash at 8, Sandslash at 80. Drapion's in. I think Drapion's can play as a safe swap at 83. Registeel. I almost used Registeel, but I would have been double weak to fire. I think Registeel. I feel like Registeel or some Pokemon like that is going to be my sneaky pick for the season. I just told you my sneaky pick. I was looking at Registeel a lot. I want to just run the Sims in the background here just to see what its record is against the... Let's just do Registeel against the Great League meta here. Still a terrible record, 19-25. I understand there's the fires and you buffed Ninetales, so maybe there's a little more fires. And there's always going to be the grounds. But I figured with these bugs that you can resist bug, and with that maybe less ground. So yeah, this is the thing. There's the record that it has, 19-25, which is not a good record. But it's like, what in this do you beat and what do you lose to? And do you see a lot of what you lose to? The problem is there's some real hard losses here. Like Primeape and Morpeko and Marowak are like 86, 103, 135. Like that's a terrible, terrible average. But then you beat Jumpluff, you beat Jellicent, you beat Ferret, you beat Feraligatr, you beat Drapion, you beat Credilli. Like it's got some play. So I'm trying to figure out if there's a Pokemon in like the 60 to 90 range that will just be like, this could be a sneaky one to deal with sort of the main meta and all these other sort of new Pokemon. And I don't want to rely on ground. I don't know. Hopefully I can figure it out before Monday's video. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.